Hello, my name is Lee and welcome to Journey of a Student Nurse. So today is the 2nd of April and it is World Autism Awareness Day, and I am absolutely excited out today because we're still continuing to do more autism awareness today and raising awareness, of autism as well. So there's thousands of people worldwide participating in events, to help it raise more awareness of it. So I'm really, excited to be part of this. So anyway, so today I'm doing a wee video where I talk about me, myself, and my Asperger's. So it's a video where it's a bit about me, a bit about what I do, and about my Asperger's as well. So So if you've seen my previous videos, you will know that I am a student nurse. I'm in my 2nd year and I study here in the UK. So that is a wee bit of a nutshell of what I do. I'm also someone who has Asperger syndrome as well. Now, when I was diagnosed, I was told that I had a mild form of Asperger syndrome. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to use any terms like mild, moderate. I'm just going to stick to Asperger's because I think, when you start putting things like mild in front of things, you start to put it in a category. And I just feel that when you start putting something in a category, you give it a label and it really, you expect specific things from that. Now, I feel like mild doesn't cut the mustard and doesn't fit with how I feel, how I perceive my condition. Certain things like certain sensory aspects of the condition, communication, understanding certain things, as well as, how I, just do day-to-day life. So I just feel like when I've read loads of information, I don't fit in a specific category. So anyway, that's where I sit, and that's what I'm going to stick with for today. So as I said, I'm a student nurse. I am very privileged to be in such an amazing profession, and I hope to continue to be the best student nurse that I can be, eventually become a registered nurse, and I have a love for just serving people and looking after people when they're unwell. Doesn't always go too well sometimes when you're at home. I'm not the best at always looking after myself or other people at home, because I think home's always a different environment, but I'm always trying to be the best that I can be and look after people. But that just makes me what me, and it makes me human. So we do have limitations in life. And this is kind of a thing that I want to say is people who have autism or people who have Asperger syndrome are no different from anyone else. They have skin, they have hair, they have teeth, they have feet, they have hands, eyes, they have eyebrows, we have all these things that make us human. So when we think of autism we sometimes think of a person who is different, someone who isn't maybe necessarily human, or that's maybe a way I'm saying and maybe not is true in that sense, but that's fine. But at the end of the day, people who have autism or Asperger's or any other disability, at the end of the day, they are still human beings. They are no less because of what they have. See, when I'm in nursing, I'm looking after people who have chronic conditions such as lung conditions, problems with the heart, people who have had, broken legs, things like that. People who have had these issues. And what I see at the end of the day is I still see a human at the end of the day. I still see a person, and I feel like that's a unique thing about, this. So I think, we're no someone who has Asperger's or autism is no less. So a wee bit about my Asperger's. So I was diagnosed over 16 years ago with the condition. So I've known about my condition for a pretty long time now, so to speak. But it wasn't only until probably about 4 or 5 years ago where I've really started to seek help with my condition, and just be open and honest about things. It was when I started university in 2015 when I really sought, help for it, for certain things, in terms of extensions and exams and stuff. Why you might think, why did I not have all that before when I was studying like at college and stuff? Well, there was a period in my life where I really denied I had the condition, and I just was pretty much embarrassed by it. I didn't want to be, you know, defined by it or have anything to do with it. And I feel like that was the reason why I really suppressed it. And I think, by suppressing it for so long, I kind of let it, you know, build things build up. And then eventually, when I was at college, studying my HND, for fitness, health, and exercise, I really got to a point when I was really struggling academically. I was struggling with the workload. I was struggling with things, and I got an HNC out of what I did, but I never got the full qualification. It was when I went to university, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to get help, I'm going to get the support. So when I started studying university first time around, doing a different healthcare degree, I, I went to the uni, I was open and honest about my condition. So I spoke to the department coordinator for like things like disabilities and learning difficulties, etc. And I got, let them know I was also having appointments with the Learning Inclusion Service, and I got support from them, for things like exam extensions and stuff. But I decided if for extension stuff, I wanted to wait until second semester, not because I didn't want the help, but it was because I wanted to see like how I did in my first semester, where, how much input that I needed. So it was fair enough just to sort of say this is what I'm wanting to do, see what I needed. So come second semester, I got things like extensions and stuff which were much appreciated. So now that I'm at a different university and studying nursing, I've had all the same support and if not more put in. And I have to really say that the university on a whole have been absolutely amazing, in supporting me, and I'm very grateful for that. To be at a university where they understand learning disabilities, they understand learning difficulties really well, and I've had an amazing support put in from that. So, big thank you to them on that. But that's been a real kind of thing with that and the academic side of things. And the university, I've always felt, especially with my personal tutor, they don't see me as someone who has Asperger's. They see my potential to be a nurse. They might say, okay, you've got this, that, and this, but this isn't going to stop you from being a nurse. We're going to support you to get there, but you've obviously me, I've got to put in the effort, I've got to do the studying, I've got to do the exam revision, I've got to go out on clinical placement and meet the competencies and the requirements set out by the Nursing and Midwifery Council for pre-reg nurses, and I'm doing that quite well. I've had honest feedback from mentors of areas that I can improve upon, and that's quite positive feedback, and I'm taking that on board and I'm going forward with that. And I'm more open and honest now in the clinical setting, because I'm comfortable in the hospital to sort of say about myself, my condition. So I've had good support from that, from people that I've told. And again, the other nurses that I've worked with don't see my condition, they just see me. They obviously see potential, and they say, oh, I'm doing really well. So kind of moving on to a different part, so going away from the academic side of things. So I'm very privileged to have such an amazing wife, and someone who understands my condition mostly, and I say mostly as, she's still learning a lot about, how I kind of work, how I tick in many ways. I'm married for a year and a half now, and she has been absolutely amazing. It wasn't until probably a couple of months ago where she really started to understand more about more of the sensory issues, more of the other things that I'm going through. Because, having said, you know, a lot about how I experience things and trying to get her to read stuff. It was quite difficult, but I was trying to get her to understand many things where I come from. And then there's things that I have to understand about my wife, obviously, you know, in terms of her needs as well. And that can be difficult. And there's that communication thing. Because I'll talk about this in a moment in terms of communication. It's how I understand certain things around body language, etc. But you know, she's been absolutely amazing. And you know, if I'm just to have a meltdown or something or a complete sensory overload, you know, she can tell when I'm not right. You know, when I'm not myself, and I'm allowed that time. I'm allowed that space just to be where I need to be and just to unwind and to relax. You know, and I've got that time, which is really good. So it's nice to have that support network there in place. You know, and I have to say as well, I've got amazing friends, and being starting to get more comfortable with being able to say to my friends, you know, these are some of the issues, you know, that I experience. But anyway, you know, just to kind of round this video off, I kind of want to talk a bit about some of the sensory issues and some of the challenges that I face. I'm not going to talk about the sensory too much because I've got that for another video soon this week. But anyway, so I do experience quite a lot of sensory overload now. I'm quite sensitive to sound, you know, quite sensitive in large crowds, you know, I get quite overwhelmed with noise and things like that sometimes. So I often wear my earphones when I'm out in public, you know, just that's kind of how I am sometimes, just to try and, you know, try and keep myself safe. You know, I've got things like sensory toys as well. And again, this is something that I'm talking about in another video, not this week, but another point soon, where I'm talking about stuff from 2HM and talking about other sensory toys that I have just to help me if I'm overwhelmed to unwind and relax. So that's something that I'm going to do shortly. I've got things like that, things that I can chew, things that I can stim with as well, and these things. So that's kind of a bit of there on the sensory side of things. I mean, I'm not too bad with smells. I mean, you know, being in the nursing environment, you're going to get some very foul smells, so I'm not too bad there. There's other things like taste and touch. I'm very sensitive to certain things like taste. I really like spicy food. I like my food to be spicy, but maybe not to the level that other people like it. So it's kind of a balance there. Again, I'm going to talk about that in that sensory video. But also, I'm very sensitive to touch as well, and I am very particular, you know, about certain things with touch. You know, if I'm like, no, do not touch me, that is like a no, stop, just do not touch me kind of thing. But anyway, in fact, kind of saying in terms of communication, I do struggle a bit with communication. I do struggle with forming words sometimes, like you've probably seen the video, I have a wee stutter sometimes, and I know it's me trying to think, you know, what I'm trying to say, and it doesn't always come out the way I intended, then I end up having to repeat myself a wee bit. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's something that I'm constantly learning to improve on and trying to be the best that I can with that. And that's something important in nursing, to really be a good communicator. So anyway, that's just a kind of a bit of a, hopefully kind of a brief overshot with myself, you know, myself and my Asperger. So I hope that's been a good video for today. So if you've enjoyed the video today, please give it a like, and please consider subscribing to the channel for more great content, particularly through World Autism Awareness Week and through World Autism Awareness Month. So that's it from me, Lee, here today. So bye from us, and bye from Journey of a Student Nurse.